Okay, another day in the shop. So Dan here, DD Speed Shop, as always, working on this fine 57 Chevy. Power Tour prep, that's what we're doing. So we left it last time. I had kind of gone over the car, kind of give my list of what we're gonna do. I've since pulled the axles and the rear end, the center section out. The other axle came out fine. There were no issues, so just the ones all piled up. And this one here, the cage and all that, holding the ball bearings apart, let go, so it's just kind of a free-for-all in there. So that would have probably not been great on the highway. So I got two new bearings. We'll put two of those in there, and I think I'll take a spare axle just to have. Now I pulled out this center section. It was fine, actually. There's no play in it. Didn't make any noise. So this one is just an open rear end though. And I well, it actually said what the teeth were, but I did the math, and this one worked out to be a 355 rear end, and the one we have here is a 336. So I went on this Spicer website, and I just kind of typed in a few base things. So a 336 rear end, 28-inch tall tire, because they're running a 275/60 at 65 miles an hour. Which we might be doing, I don't know, 55. I don't think we're doing interstate stuff, but that'll turn probably about 2,700 RPM. And the other one was gonna be like 2,900 RPM. Now if we change to 55 miles an hour, drops down to 2,200. So, I mean, if we're just kind of cruising, not going too crazy, it won't be that bad. An overdrive, I typed in all the stuff. If we could figure out how to do that, it'd be like 2,100 or something. So that would be ideal, but whatever. So I'm gonna get this kind of cleaned up and jammed in the car, maybe later today, we'll see. Get that all together. It's all dirty. So we'll get that in. I gotta clean the brakes and all that, because they're all covered in oil, but no big deal. Oh, the next thing I did, this is Murph's fault. It sends me a message, Princess Auto has universal wiper motors for the rear, like SUV. I think it was $19. So that's what I did today. I didn't film it because I thought it was gonna brutally fail, but I made a universal wiper motor fit, so I made a couple brackets and kind of put that in there. So it did work. I actually have all the stuff for the factory unit right here. So I actually have an electric wiper motor. This is from the Nomad, which is pretty rare stuff on Tri-5 Chevys. They were typically vacuum operated, and they're all junk. So this would be what's in the car. That's obviously the motor. They just join together and then it spins. And then this goes to like bike cables, which go to the wipers. And on Tri-5 Chevys, the wipers go like this. They go into each other. So, a few issues. I made it work. Now, typically that motor was obviously supposed to be in kind of the deck lid or the hatch. So I did cut a little bit of it off, which took away some of its support. There's a little bushing in there, but I think it's fine. But the problem is, because instead of it sticking out through the car, it's poking into the car. Well, in this case anyways, the park function has the wipers all the way out versus all the way in. So we just won't be able to use the park function, but it still does work. It has one speed, which is all we really need. Check out this testing stuff I did. So step around here, kind of show. I only have the one wiper blade on it right now. That needs to stay on because it's there's no blade on it. So hopefully it works. Look at that, wipers. So we'll just have to shut it off, because the problem is if we actually hit the park function, it parks there, which just looks goofy. So not the end of the world. You just gotta be aware of it when you shut it off. But that'll work. Now we'll have wipers. Now, obviously, if it's a torrential downpour, those aren't really keeping up, but I think we'll probably give up on driving if it gets that crazy. So, that's a lot of talking to start this video. But now what we gotta do is go through and finish all the wiring on this thing. I had the whole new harness in. It was all looking good, but then I put the plow on it, and I never kind of put everything away because I didn't know what the plan was with what I was gonna have on this thing. So we gotta wire up that wiper motor proper on a switch. All this junk has to go. A lot of this is just for the plow. And then this is actually the wiring harness we need to keep. But I did just go buy some like black hockey tape, so it looks kind of factory. Wrap all that up, put it all away with some insulated P-clamps and zip ties. And then we got to try and make this cover fit, which now with the wiper motor, I think we're gonna have to cut part of it out. The LS is, it's a little tight. I had to move one coil pack before. If you had power brakes, you have to probably move a couple of them. So it's a bit of a fiasco. But, I mean, honestly, everything does work on this thing. So if we just kind of get it all arranged away, I think we should be fine. So, I think we'll start with the wiring because it's going to be easy. And it's an easy win for me. And then I'll struggle on my back and put the rear end in. Maybe later today. But yeah, she's coming together. We're in the future. I've been doing a lot of screwing around. The problem with all these little tasks is it's already been done once, poorly. And then when you redo them, it's boring to watch someone redo their previous butchery. But I'll just kind of jump ahead. So we've got all the wiring kind of sorted out. Nothing's clamped because I want to make sure everything's all together before I do that. But like I said, everything's all taped up, run nicely. Well, much more nicely than it was at one point. That's a tack signal wire I'm going to deal with. We got the cover back on the motor. The wiper motor's all in, taken care of. Everything's all nice. I might do a little bit more cleaning up here, but this is all the LS stuff. It's all just on its own little fuse block. So if there's a problem, we just start changing fuses over there. Otherwise, we good. My only concern, well, I don't really like is this universal hose. I'd like to find something that's a little more, and this is probably not the best for coolant. And actually, I think at one point this got cooked or something. Anyways, I'm not change that yet. Wiper motor fit nice. Overall, pretty good. I want to redo a few vacuum lines on the hood, but not too bad. I went and got this rear end. I just took it to work, and we got her all degreased, ready to go. Look at that. She's ready to go in. It's gonna be heavy. That'll be fun. We'll do that next. Now inside, this is where a lot happened. Ugh. But you can't even tell. So I had all the wiring completely down and out of this thing. I never had a working fuel gauge. Now we do. I had bad ground on the tank. Story of my life. Otherwise, I mean, everything else is working. Horn works. I still make sure all the signals. Oh, that's kind of weird. Went a little fast there. That all works. Everything is good there. Now, the next thing I did, I made everything. Well, I put everything on a toggle. We're going to do NASCAR stuff. I think I'll probably get this kind of painted up. Now, the reason I did this, partially laziness, partially just kind of, it's what we got going on for right now. So this button right here is actually just a set of add-on fog lights I put on when I had the plow. So we left it in there. I think this one's the electric cooling fan. You can hear that go or not. And then it's kind of cool. It's like a generator effect, so it keeps the light going on it. So we got that for the fan. I do like having fans on a toggle versus on a motor switch. Just my own personal preference, that way I know what's on. This one here, we have the interior fan. So it has heat. The issue we're having is this switch is, it's no bueno. Otherwise, it's all factory stuff that all works. So I gotta keep my eye out for one of those or buy one new, but I'm too cheap for that now. And this one, oh, wipers. Look at that. Now again, wipers you'd have on a, intermittent and all those sort of things, but because we're using a rear wiper, it's got one speed, so that's all there is to it. That worked out really well. So I think the next thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna clean up a little bit. I wanna pull the seats out of this thing. We're gonna jack the front end up. I wanna muscle this rear end in. I got a bunch of new hardware for it, get all that taken care of. Put the drive shaft back in it, so we'll get to film all that. That'll be some fun watching. Then, I got a bunch of undercoating and paint. I want to paint under this thing. Unfortunately, I probably should have taken it to work while it was on the road and all that stuff and pressure washed it. We don't have time for that. So, and it's split apart, no rear end and all that stuff. We're gonna jack it up. I'm gonna clean it off. We're gonna hose it down, let it get nice, soupy, and gross in here. Squeegee some of the water out. It's actually a nice day. And then kind of end the video there after all my struggling is done. And then the next video, we're gonna start right away. I went and bought out a bunch of cool interior stuff. And we'll get that going. So we're working front to back. I'm pretty happy with under the hood now. I'm very confident. Motor's good. I do want to change the water pump. I said that 15 times, but I gotta keep telling it to myself. Or at the very least buy one and toss it in the trunk. Let's be honest here. And kind of keep going, work my way back. Make the interior nice. So I'll get cleaned up and I'll see you guys under the car while I'm struggling to bench press that rear end in. So, I was gonna film struggling getting the rear end in, but it really got to me. It was not good. So, the rear end is in, no axles, obviously, nothing like that's all together. I jacked the front end up. I pulled the wheels. This is a year's worth of, well, a winter's worth of driving. I mean, this is all brand new stuff, which don't look so brand new anymore. Under the hood's all taken care of. Look at that junk, eh? That's too bad. You try and have nice things, but it's just a car. I went and got some gunk. I learned my lesson after the oven cleaner incident. So I had to go buy gunk in a can, and it was, used to be $6 a can. Now it's 10, and they didn't have any, so I got some, I don't know, spray in a bottle stuff. So we're gonna degrease the motor under the hood. I wanna do the front suspension, make it look kind of decent. And then, what else I can do? Oh, underneath. I didn't do any painting, but I actually had painted the floor and all around the rear end and stuff. The fuel tank's starting to just have a little bit of surface rust, so I might blast that. I might just kind of paint everything black is my plan. Just make it look kind of nice. Under there, again, it won't last, but because we're gonna drive this thing in the rain and snow, and now it has wipers. We'll drive it like all the time. Heater, wipers, the whole deal. So this stuff's supposed to be biodegradable. So we'll see if it mangles up the motor. So we'll get this all sprayed down, and it's supposed to set for 10 minutes. And then we'll go ahead and hose it all down. It'd be a good excuse to kind of clean the whole garage up, because we're gonna make a heck of a mess. And then while this is drying, I guess, before we get back under there, we're gonna work on the convertible, because I want to change the cluster and a few little things. And it's a nice day out, so I think we're gonna drive it tonight. Maybe we'll do a live drive? What do you think? So I'll get this going, and we'll come back when we're spraying it all off. So I sprayed the wheels down real quick, and then I just hosed them down. They came out good. So it's meant for road grime. Let's see what happens. So we'll start on the motor, and then we'll just set the camera up, or the tripod up, I should say. So you want it to sit for 10 minutes, I guess, but you don't want it to dry out. So hopefully this gets all the junk off this thing. Is it coming out gross? No, yeah. And then we'll let it dry real good. Really, this is something we should probably do every year on this car, not just for power tour, because it's gonna have all that road grime and salt and all that crap on it from driving it all winter. So get all that off, and then now it's summertime, and it won't really be a problem, so. All right, I'll go set that camera up real quick, and I'm gonna get soaking wet, which is awesome. It's a nice day out, but it's not that nice. And then we gotta go help the neighbor fix his fence, apparently. So, full day. Well, I'm significantly soaking wet. Anyways, so this cluster is no bueno. I found this one, which is slightly better bueno. It is missing the temp gauge, which I'll just swap from the other one. Hopefully the fuel gauge works. And the speedometer is what the real, I think it works. What ways to go? I had it working. Oh yeah, well, the needle, there we go. It's hard to do by hand, but I'll give it a quick lube, but it works. Now the problem we're gonna run into, this is meant to fit under the cover on the column on a factory 57 Chevy. Hi, neighbors. On this one, because I have a tilt column, I did have to gently trim it. So I'm gonna pull the column down on this one. We'll pull the cluster out real quick. Should be pretty easy. A couple of screws, and then just a bunch of little light bulbs, and everything will go back together and should work. Maybe I'll pull the steering wheel off and paint that too while I'm at it. I don't know how crazy I should go here. Okay, so the old cluster is out, so that's a little bit of trimming we did and we'll have to do. Nothing too serious. I got the wheel off, which here and here. Let's give it a little scuff. So we'll scuff that up. Well, that's some pretty piss poor work. But anyway, I'm going to take this thing all apart. Now on the back side, the gauge is held in with a couple of screws. I ran this ground wire, and I believe on this one it tied into the car. I had it grounded, so the whole cluster was grounded separate to the car itself, so everything worked. And it's just much easier to test all the lights once it's in there. You don't have it typically in and then bolted in or screwed in. This way you can kind of test it on your lap, make sure everything's working. So that's the plan. We'll take this apart, give it a quick spritz WD-40. We all ready to go back together? Anyway, so let's get set up and let's butcher this with the grinder.
Do I look cute?
Always look cute. New cluster, gentle, all together. Good enough to get all apart. And then I got my grounds and all that put together. This is all now nice and free flowing. Danielle's gonna paint the steering wheel. I would put it, like flip it so it's that side down first. Yeah, and then we'll just kind of paint that and then flip it the other side because it's only going to rest on this section, which no one's ever going to see.
Okay.
So.
Do I do like back and forth or just go around?
Doesn't really matter. A few light coats. Light-ish. I'll just show you one quick thing. So I would. It's kind of a little slower, you know? You got paint on your nose.
How?
Your top's mangled, your pants are mangled, man, your legs are mangled, you got it everywhere. Anyway, let's get right back to it.
Okay. I didn't even want to paint. You made me.
Okay, load her up. You should have just like stabbed the can and put it in the middle and see what happens. There you go, yeah.
But then it's not covering it.
So you want to do, okay, for what, you're not hitting the button enough. It's trickling.
Hit it. There's too much paint. I'm not just doing this for free.
Alright, after a little tutorial, basically mint. Perfect.
I got it now.
You got her, yeah. You got something happening. So, a little while later, look how clean this thing is. It's almost all dried up. We got a little bit moisture on the floor. We'll, yeah, that's irrelevant. I'm going to start painting under here. I think that's where we're going to finish off the video, but we got this hot rod out here, all shined up. We're going to go cruising tonight. Danny's going to drive it, actually. But, yeah, interior looks nice. Mud on the ground, because my life is mud. But, the wheel looks good on there. We need a center horn ring and stuff like that, but the black wheel, it's pretty nice. I wonder if there's something I can put on there just as a temporary cap, because I've moved the hood. The horn does have a horn button, and this is pretty sacked out. I didn't even paint it or nothing, because it's all cracked and whatever. Definitely find another one is the end goal, but this thing will do the trick for now. Man, it looks good in the sun. So now I'm gonna crawl under here and paint a little bit, show you my suffer, and then I guess make sure this thing still runs. That would always be nice. And yeah, actuals in a couple of days. I'm gonna pay a guy to do it. I did it before in my little press. The problem is that it's not high enough, so I'd have it up on milk crates and a bunch of screwing around, or just pay a guy. It was like 40 bucks. He'll bang the bearings on, and we're all good. But yeah, wow, this thing shined out nice. Look how, almost looks like semi-professional. So have to get it all taken care of. Yeah, we'll get it there, we'll get it all painted up. End this video. It's been an all-out war. Painting another car is never fun. But I got it all taken care of. I actually painted the tank black. I did the tailpipes as well. I'm not a big fan of tailpipes out the back. These pipes fit mint from Lyle's. I gotta say, they were the ticket. But I I prefer up and over and stuff, but I obviously don't have a bender. So yeah, I redid the frame. Everything turned out really, really nice. While I was under there, I had clearly undercoated it last year at some point before I drove in the winter. So it really wasn't that bad. I mean, I just kind of, especially once you hose it all off, it was this like kind of white gross color, which is obviously probably the salt and whatnot that was on there. So once I degreased it and hosed it all down, it was pretty good, but I used just 2 cans undercoating, touch it all up. I decided to do in the wheel wells, which I had not done before. I don't know, I think it just looks kind of nice, clean. I didn't touch the control arms. I might, this might look better like shiny black, so I might brush paint those. We'll see. We'll see how excitable I get under the hood. It just looks clean. Clean, I guess. Like it looks, someone took an original car and put an LS motor in it, so I'm happy with it. What else we got going on? I put on the fuel injection badges. I'll tell you what, just a second. Let's make sure this thing still runs. It's good noise. Perfect. All installed. Fuel gauge working. Yeah, it's quite a concept having something that everything works. I've never had that. Well, verbal, I guess. I put these on. They're loose. They're not screwed on because it's actually got to reach all the way up in the back and it's going to hold it while I tighten it. But tomorrow, I'm getting this thing lettered. Started to be lettered. It might be in a few different videos, but ultimately, I'm going to do it in stages. So I want to start off DD Speed Shop across here, Winnipeg, Canada down there. We obviously want fuel injection on the top of the fender, maybe the motor size. I don't know if we want to put our names on either the door or the roof. Just kind of bit by bit, add a few little things. I think it'll be kind of fun. Up next is interior. That's the next video. But we made it to the end. That was a hassle. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying the power tour prep. I sure am. I'm feeling every day that goes by, I feel better and better and better about this car, and I already felt pretty good about it the whole time. So, thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Comment below if you have any tidbits of advice. And because I need it on the road. That's it, that's all. I'm gonna wash this thing real quick. Video's over. Thanks for watching. Wipe down, ready for paint.